What happens when you take two guys from New York who absolutely love to talk and give them a license to rant? You get your hosts, John Peasy and Mikey Sausage.
What's up, PC? I gotta tell you why I'm just laughing, because I'm watching the opening and I'm watching all the weight gain and weight loss that I went through over the years.
Not only that, well, I'm looking at that intro and I'm thinking, I see ourselves growing, not in a career, but slowly on the screen. My head and your head has gotten so. Matter of fact, we're the new potato heads, not Mister, just potato heads. Hey, before we get started, I have to tell you something. I was thinking about this earlier. I just want to let you know, I live in New Jersey, and last year, Governor Cuomo came, put his hands underneath me and grabbed my breast. I just want to let everyone know on the air for the future. This
are you making a claim?
Yes, I'm number 7.
Are you me too?
No, yeah, me too. I want to jump in on that whole thing too. Sure,
yeah,
why not?
I know. You went right into politics. You're looking to get us canceled right away.
No, I don't do any politics. I don't do any.
Listen, if you Google John Peasy, your address comes home. They'll be out in front of your house, so you better be careful. You get canceled.
I have them all out there already. They're on my lawn right now, burning. So hey, this is so much fun because. Look how good we got our sound. Look at our sound. We could clip each other. We could talk over each other without getting clipped off. Our great producer, who I don't know if everyone knows, but our great producer, Leland, I can see him from here. Nobody can see him. Got it all worked out. He got it all working right. This guy is a god in when it comes to what to do. So thank you, God Leland, in the world of virtual. You're doing great. Wonderful.
You called him God?
Is God there?
I don't know. His wife is home. You know that.
Yeah.
So
I was hoping
he's married, so she's God, right?
There he is. He's there. We're here. You hear God's voice. There it
is. Yeah. Because he's got a face for radio, so that's why we keep him like that.
Well, you and I are on our way. So
go ahead.
I'm excited. I'm always excited. I'm very excited. I'm feeling really good. Even though the chin is drooping and the hair is dissipating and everything is changing, I'm feeling good. I'm trying to get rid of the COVID weight. Did a mile walking today. I did some working out, and then I ate a cheeseburger and a corn muffin.
Well, that's par for the course.
Well, I did some good and I did some bad. How are you feeling? You okay?
Yeah, but I'm not really. Besides working, you're not really doing anything. So that's why. The only thing about when I got COVID, the only thing good about was all the weight that you lost, but you put it right back on. I don't know. Yeah. It just gets harder as I get older, so it's getting more difficult.
It's funny. If you look at the two of us sitting here right now, we don't look like the epitome of health. We kind of look like people that eat a lot of meat. And that's really a perfect lead-in to our next guest, who looks very healthy. As a matter of fact, she said before she started, she said, I'm hot. She said she was hot. So she is hot. As a matter of fact,
no, she didn't say she was hot. I said that she was hot. Yeah.
She's hot. So,
look, that's a tease. They call that a tease.
That came from God, by the way, God Leland. So this is really cool because I'm glad that our booker, John Galasso, was able to get this lovely lady to come in because I've read a couple of her things online. I watched a couple of videos on her YouTube channels and stuff. I was really impressed with her YouTube stuff. And she's been around a long time. So let's bring her on. So let's not waste any time.
Oh, wait. He just called her hot and old in the same 2 sentences now.
I said the YouTube videos are old.
YouTube videos. All right. Go ahead. Tell me about this young lady.
How beautifully introduced that was. So this young lady, and I said young lady, His name is and you could say Sonia or Sonia. I would say Sonia. It's tomato. However, I'm looking at her bio here. It says she's a true visionary. She is an executive producer of the award-winning documentary, The Business of Disease. And this is something you and I should talk to her about. She's the host and producer of a radio show called The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett. It's on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles, the city of angels. She's known for her cutting-edge insights with much support about quantum physics, which I love. Theoretical physicist Dr. Amit Swami refers to her as a true mystic. I also thought she was theoretical.
Yeah, your introduction is really mystifying me.
Hello, my friend. I'm very good at what I do.
Stop.
Anyway, Sonia is coaches the natural science and path inward. So she's the author of this book called The Holographic Canvas, which is fusing of mind and matter, and her second book, A Journey of Possibilities in Health. So this is, and she talks about supplements and spirituality and health and all these great things. And I'm happy to have her here. So please welcome Sonia Barrett. There she is. Hiya, Sonia.
Oh. Hello, and good to be here. I think. No, I'm just kidding. Good to be here.
We got abused in the first sentence. She don't fit right in.
What introduction?
It's all fun. We're all fun here. So it's all light.
Good.
It's no heavy lifting. No heavy lifting. Hey, so you've written all these books and all these things, and there's a lot of directions that we could go here. And Mike and I were talking before the show, like which way do we go with her? And I know you're pretty easy peasy about it all as well. I'd like to first start off with, like, how did you get into what you do originally? Where did you come from, and how did this all begin from the young Sonia, the kiddie Sonia?
Well, good question. The part where you said, where did you come from? I mean, I think that's just the big question. But I think for me, I have always had an interest and a curiosity, I think, about life from as far back as I can remember. I mean, as far back as my earliest memory goes, I always had a curiosity. There are lots of things that just seem strange to me about life, and wondered as a small child, how is it that everybody seemed to be okay with, certain things that I would observe. So for me, to cut a long story short, I would say in 1992, but let me say as a teenager, I did get very much into science fiction, and at the time, Edgar Cayce, and curious about the Bermuda Triangle and Hollow Earth, so I was always somehow in that space. But then,
I think you married the wrong woman, Peasy. This guy stays up all night. Illuminati this guy's all over them. This guy loves that stuff.
Oh my God.
Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. I kind of move forward. Life happens, kids, the marriage, all of that. Anyway, so in 1992, I kind of went through a different kind of awakening after a divorce, and just really wanting to, just asking my question, what is this life? What is this all about? So that really kind of set me on a more centered, a more focused path of just really trying to understand all of this. So that's really basically where that started for me. And you're talking a person that didn't have any background in information on quantum physics or metaphysics or even how to meditate. And I came at this truly very raw on my own, not even knowing anything about workshops or, any of that. So that's really how I came to the table. And I really, even though I didn't know all of those things, in me, I had the sense that I could access the information. Like there was just a way to understand things beyond books. And I set out to do that on my own. And over time, after just an absolute commitment to this, I one day really learned how to meditate. I just ended up in this state of meditation, and things kind of happened from there in terms of the shifts that took place. I think I more understand it where, the veils, my brain, which is your brain is the interface, right? In terms of what reality looks like for you. I didn't understand it at that time. Now I get it. But I think some shifts definitely took place in me in terms of my ability to see and to understand beyond all of this. And that's really where that started. And I just stayed on that road. The more I found out is the more I would find out. And let me tell you, I dug into everything. Everything showed up in my field, from politics to secret societies to all that stuff. Everything became part of the soup of trying to understand this bigger picture, which it was just this endless quilt. It's just this endless thing. It's just that everything I would discover would take me yet to a higher level of understanding. And then some things you just kind of leave behind after a while. They serve their purpose, and then you just keep moving on to the next level. So that's basically what I have done in my life. So now I'm able to share that with people, and having people realize that there is nothing necessarily different about me. The difference here is that I was really committed to knowing. My curiosity was just really very deep, and I just kind of stuck to all of that, to following through on that. So anybody, anybody can access anything. That's what I learned.
I want to ask a question. I know a little bit about you, and I know this is not a secret. So I know you were married, and I know that you were in an abusive relationship, and you escaped that with a young child, if I'm correct.
With 2 children.
I'm the father of daughters, so it's a very sensitive subject to me. So, and so seeing you where you are is really a wonderful thing. But coming from that place of abuse, and did that really send you on the trajectory that you went? Was that a catalyst, or you were always interested way before that?
Well, I was always interested, but that moment, I think definitely it was a catalyst, because I needed to understand why I was even part of something like that, a physically abusive situation. And this was, 14 years of being with that person. And then you have 2 kids, and, you end up running away. It wasn't a situation where you say, okay, we're going to get divorced and, it's amicable. It was, run to the car. We're running away, and we're never coming back with the clothes on your back. So yes, all of that definitely brought me into a place of needing to understand more about myself and more about life. And I think that's what allowed me to not be focused on this person, what that person did, and, they need to apologize. I began to understand a much bigger picture about all of this. So it allowed me to gradually let go of that and move into something that was even more profound. And at the same time, I was able to see how that experience actually launched me into being this curious and taking me where I am right now. So I don't live my life on a lot of regret of what happened to me and victimized. I understand it, but I also see the flip side of that, how it actually propelled me into this level of understanding at this point.
Yeah, it's you're reading my mind. So I'm saying, like, if you had a time machine and could go back, do you think you would have changed what happened to you, or do you think it's kind of important?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't change it.
Terrible and bad and running away. And all this.
I wouldn't change anything, because it all had meaning. There were things about me that even allowed me to even engage with this person, the vibration of this person. So I realized that there were things about my belief system at the time. Not only that, I ended up having 2 wonderful children that, adult children now, and we're very close. So if I changed anything, it would have changed everything else. And I don't know that my children would be who they are. And I don't know that I would have the understanding that I have at this time. It's sort of like, when we talk about having either a lot of money. Now, I'm clear on that. If I had a lot of money, at that time, or even when I left, would I have dug in this deep, or would I have used the money more so? Would it have become more of a distraction? I would find ways to distract myself with many different things, and I wouldn't be who I am now. Now I'm in a space where I have freed myself enough where, yes, I can flourish in money and be okay, because it wouldn't own me and I wouldn't be using it to try to avoid my pain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying you're rich and single.
Pardon me?
You're rich and single? Is that what you're saying?
I'm single right now. No, I'm not. I'm not single.
Oh.
But Mike, the way you got to say is, so you're single. So you say here you're saying you're single. As a matter of fact, like, I'm thinking all
that. But yeah,
if
no,
I had a time machine.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm just thinking though. You just asked her if she had a time machine, would she go back and change it? And she says, no, I wouldn't have changed anything, because apparently the pain, it's almost like getting hit in the head with a brick makes you wake up to the fact that you need to grow in a different direction. We're out getting hit with the brick. She's saying she gets distracted, which makes a lot of sense to our lives. We get very easily distracted by so many things. And
yeah, but you got a daughter too, PZ. Imagine, like, I mean, I don't know your family situation with a mom and dad, if she had a place to run to. But just imagine, like your daughter's in an abusive relationship. Oh my!
I would be in jail. You know, either of us would be in jail. You know that, right?
It's tough to look at it for men, especially to really think of it in terms of their daughter. And in my case, I didn't have anybody to call on because my parents were deceased. So I was completely on my own. I mean, I was completely on my own. But even that idea of the journey, and I was just having this conversation with my older son yesterday too. But even that, where I'm completely on my own, we come to California, we know no one. I've never been to California before in my life. I decided I want to move to California. So the first time I saw California was when I actually moved here. So the whole fact of the matter is that every single thing that I journeyed, everything that I went through, everything that I did, it truly did bring me up to this moment. And I can't see that it would have been the same had I not. And not having any family, it forced me. Yes, I was forced to then be completely on my own, completely in my own space, even though I was married, but completely dependent on me, with nowhere to run, nobody to run to. And for me, yes, it did make me a lot stronger, more resilient. And later on in life, though, I had to then work on survival programs, because now I was programmed to survive, right? So you end up with actions and behaviors that are about surviving. And I think many people have that because that's our core thing as human beings. We are programmed to survive at all costs. So to be able to recognize later on that these certain behaviors are coming from your need to survive, and then having to gradually to change them, to see them and to change them because they no longer were necessary. So I think these are things that people go through, and a lot of people don't see it and understand it maybe the way I do. So they end up very lost in their situation, very lost in their experience, and very lost in being a victim and waiting for apologies. And I say to people, guess what? Don't wait for an apology. Don't wait for it. This is just all about you. It doesn't matter if that person apologizes or not. It's about me. And in the end, what I was able to look at myself and I see was that in the end, the truth of it is, this person really took nothing from me. He couldn't take anything from me. But I had to go through a process to be able to see that I was whole and could be completely whole without having to be anchored to the things that happened to me in that relationship. So it definitely.
How inspirational is that? That's hugely inspirational. And by the way, a lot of people I think would watch her right now and not even grasp kind of like what it really means as a woman.
No, exactly my point. I mean, I know it's a lot of off topic, but I think it's so important that I think like I talk to my daughters. I have young daughters, 18 and 14. So when I talk to my daughters, I talk to them about being independent, being smart, making sure they don't have to depend on a man for anything. I say there's so many women out there that are in a marriage that's abusive or bad, or they're just not happy, and they have young children and have nobody, and they stay because where are they going to go? So they're stuck. So for you just to pick up and go, and you probably had nothing, and you have nobody.
I slept in the car for almost 2 weeks.
Wow.
For almost 2 weeks, we slept in the supermarket parking lot. For almost 2 weeks, we slept there because I had no access to money or anything. It was a very defining moment. I walked out on a business that I had. I walked out on everything. And it was definitely a defining moment. My sons and I are certainly very close because of that. They're, each married. I am a grandmother. And so it's just interesting now that we can look back and talk about these things, and for them to even see some of their programs that maybe they picked up because of this. So we have that kind of relationship where we can talk about these things, and we each see the things that need to be changed in us and work on it. But in the end, it's really all about you as an individual. I don't care how many people are around you or your parents are there. That's great. But in the end, it is about the individual. Nobody can unlock you but you. I don't care how many workshops, whatever people tell you. The workshops are great, and all of that support is wonderful. And it's stimulating, but it still comes back to you as an individual. I say everybody is here as their own independent agent here in this life. When it comes down to it, you are here as your own independent agent. And the parents like you guys, our job is to help our children to acclimate to this world that they enter, wherever they come from, they come in, and that's what we do. We're supposed to guide them, give them the tools, prepare them to be able to launch into this thing we call life. And that's something that I realized. So even in the abusive situation, then I would talk to my children when they were sleeping. I would tell them how amazing they were. There was just a lot of things that I was saying to them while they were asleep, if I couldn't say it when they were awake. And my son even said to me recently, and they both always say that, but they go, Mom, because of you don't understand. Because of you, we raise our children the way we do. Because of you, we understand about this and vaccine and then all these things. He says, I don't think you realize the ripple effect you've had in all of our lives. So it's just a beautiful thing to be able to hear that, knowing that they journeyed with me. If I was going to be in a box, they were going to be there with me. And that's basically how it was. No matter where we were going to be there together. So that's
hey,
that.
Just say,
go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. I want to change. I want to go a different direction, but that's fine. Go ahead,
just one more thing when we get off that. So basically now, when someone says, oh, they complain they got this bad or that bad, do you look at that person and say, you think you got it bad? I mean, do you have that?
No, I understand. I understand where they're coming from. I understand that there are things that they don't understand. And I understand their pain at the same time. And I understand how easy it is to continue to swim in that. And it becomes this loop and this pattern, and they're stuck in it. So I understand it. But yes, there are times when some things people are complaining about, and I think to myself, man, you have no idea. That is like easy in comparison to, but we all have our unique journey. And this is relevant. I want to say this real quickly. I don't always talk about this, obviously, but if somebody brings it up, I'm totally free to talk about it. But why this is so significant, I think we should say this to your audience. Why this is so significant is that I came from that situation, and I managed to bring myself through questioning, through all of these things, to a point where I freed myself from that, from living in that victim space And the benefits have been just incredible. The things I've learned about reality and the science that I've learned without going to school, there's so many things opened up to me because I accepted everything about my life and who I am. And I'm able to now share that with other people. So it's very important. Whoever is listening right now, whatever their situations are, you have the power to rise up out of any situation. And your life belongs to you, not to anybody else.
That's really nice. Yeah, I just want to bring up one point and two questions because, well, first, like I said earlier, it's usually inspirational. I remember reading this book from Khalil Gibran called The Prophet, and in that book, it said that, I think if I believe it correctly, he said that children come through you, but not from you. So everything that you give to your kids, you could give them only so much, but even though they come through your womb, they actually don't actually, and you can mold them as much as you can, but they still have their own destiny in some sense.
Yeah, you don't own them.
Yeah, you don't own them, and that's kind of what reminds me as I hear you talking about your kids. So just to switch places just a little bit, though, I know you wrote a book called The Holographic Canvas, right? Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought of, I remember reading a book called The Holographic Universe from that was one of the greatest books. I the guy's name was Michael Talbot, if I remember correctly. I remember watching interviews with him years ago, and I was really impressed with that book. I read it many, many, many times trying to get the concept of it. Now you've written this book, which I have not read your book, and I'm going to. How is yours different from that? And by the way, Mike, I don't know. Are you familiar, Mike? I don't know if you're familiar with this. Are you familiar with the holographic universe idea that we live in? Okay. Well, Sonia would probably explain it probably better than I do. But she has a book called The Holographic Canvas. So I'm wondering whether the relation is between your book and Michael Talbot's, and also maybe you could explain to us quickly what holographic universe that we live in is. I think I have an idea of it. And if you're into quantum physics, and you can't not think about this.
Well, the holographic canvas, it's really the holographic canvas, the fusing of mind and matter. No, it wasn't related to his book. As a matter of fact, it was really a lot of what I came to understand. And the way the book was written, it wasn't where I sat down and I go, okay, I'm going to write a book. It was over time of, as they say, downloads of information that I would just get on reality, and I would write, and over the several years I grew, and some of that information started to also change and grow. Now when I realized, wow, I think this is a book, and then I started putting it together. It was very organic. I sort of was in a flow of how things were coming together. Put this that you wrote here, move this over here, and then I was sort of directed to or led to quotes certain things from maybe 2 or 3 books or whatever I may have quoted in there. So it was a very organic book for me. It was all that I was understanding over several years. And I think the basic idea, I would say, of reality, and I'm not going to try to get into heavy duty stuff on it, but I think what people are asking and scientists are looking at, and many people are looking at, is this a simulation? Is this a hologram? What is it? Exactly how are we interconnecting? How are we connecting with this thing that we call life, this space that we call life? And we do know that the brain acts as an interface that allows us to process reality. So in other words, we're picking up light frequencies. The brain is picking up these light frequencies, and it's translated back from the optic nerves through the eye to the cones and rods in the eye into images and giving you texture, how you can touch things and feel things, all of that. It's how all of that is processing. But is it what we call real? Well, that is how that question comes up. What is real? And so for a lot of people who aren't familiar with this, it can be where they go, what do you mean? This is real. But what does that really mean? So there's all of those factors involved where you get to start realizing, well, illusion, it's a paradox. It's real, but it's not. Science tells us that as the observer, or when we are observing something, it's there, right? We expect it to be there. It's there. When you are not observing it, is anything there? Every one of us have had that experience with going down. Somebody says, go to a certain street, or you go by and suddenly you realize a building, you notice a building, you go by here every day. And then the building, you never noticed that somebody was putting up a building. Where did that building come from? So we have these experiences that's letting us realize that there's a lot of things that we are not seeing simply because, why? We don't need them then. So we're interacting with reality and what we observe and what we see really according to what we need in our reality. And that's why science is constantly discovering new things. It's because we are not, as we evolve, yes, we're seeing more, we're accessing more, but we're not seeing the full spectrum of a great many things, which means we're dealing with a lot of light. It's all electromagnetic. We're dealing with frequency patterns. It's all of these things that we're dealing with. And in the end, you realize that they really aren't necessarily, they're not permanent fixtures per se, but they come together, wave and a particle, wave and then a form, a solid form. And those things are showing up once again, according to what we need to engage in. When we are not observing it, it goes back to wave form. So that's why we can say that that the reality is a paradox. It's real and it's not real. It appears and disappears. We appear and disappear all the time. So it's this science behind it that really is not that complicated. It's just that we have to want to be more curious and investigative of a lot of this information. I personally was unexposed to that information when I started to realize this. This was information that on my own I started to realize, and then only to find out that there is some of this information that exists that scientists are writing about. And real quickly, one of the other things I want to throw out there is that simple. Everything that we see, everything is nothing but bits of information, like a computer. It's all data. It's all data streams. And that data, that information simply forms patterns. Right? And the pattern could be a chair, a book, your body. That's simply what's happening. But we are all bits of information. Little subatomic particles make up this body that we're in. And those subatomic particles just have a tremendous amount of data, information. And that information that is in the particles is what determines the form or the pattern that anything will take. And I hope
as well as the speed,
enough. And
as well as the speed.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
The faster the speed, the harder the physicalness of the item will become.
Absolutely.
But you know what? I'm laughing here because, Mike, when she's talking about this, I know exactly what she's talking about. I bet you a ton of people don't have a clue what we're talking about. She's really talking about the double slit experiment, about how particles turn physical when you look at them, and when you look away, they fall back into wave patterns.
I've read something on that, but my question here is like, so the simulation idea. So if you say we're in a simulation, does that take God out of the picture? Is he just is that are you saying there's no God?
That's like a that's like a 2400 hour discussion, because it's our concept of God. That's what we're dealing with. It's the concept of God. What is that? It's the idea of God. And your average person have been programmed to see this idea of just a supreme being that controls everything, that has its hands on everything, that determines what happens with you. But if we start to look at the bigger picture, because I grew up in the church, so you have to understand, I come from the very core of those understandings, and on my own began to see something different that began to make sense to me. So the idea of God then in church or Christianity, they'll go, well, God is everything. But then at the same time, they confine this idea of God to a one entity, as opposed to looking at, if everything is God, if God is everything, then that means you and me. So there is this bigger picture to be understood. And if we were able to take it outside of that very narrow perspective of just one supreme being, it would allow us to open up. It would give us permission. We would give ourselves, rather, permission to open up, unlock ourselves, because we're supposed to unlock ourselves to see so much more. But if you can't, then you're going to get still a very narrow understanding. And your brain is filtering what you see and experience, because it's filtering based on what? Based on what you can accept as a possibility. That's what's happening. So you get some people that are able to see more things. Yes.
Yeah, but what about you, Sonia? What is your religion? Do you have a religion? You brought up in the church. Are you religious now?
No. Religion is an organized concept that everybody agrees to, and it becomes limiting and limited. And not knocking it at the same time, because obviously it was my foundation, and I'm taking everything in my life as a foundation. So I throw nothing out. It was my beginnings. But at the same time, you have to realize that religion is a construct. It's an idea that somebody, whoever it is, comes up with it. And then you get people that agree with it, but then those people are stuck. And you know this why? Because we see religious wars. We see how people will go to war if you do not believe what they believe, because their perception of what's possible is very narrow, and they don't want to leave that place. So religion is more of it's an organized idea that you must agree to, or people get kicked out the church. They get, kicked out of whatever, ostracized. We see this in many different religions. I didn't see that. I saw the bigger picture of possibilities. Sure, you can take from each one. If you end up in Christianity, that was where you were supposed to be in that moment. But our journey and our job as human beings is to keep expanding, to keep growing, to keep questioning, to keep wanting to know, to keep trying to understand. And even in people's Bible, those that are really into, say, Christianity, even in the Bible, was it Jesus that said, greater works than these shall ye do? I mean, even to see that, for me, that was one of the things that was so clear to me. It was so clear at that moment when I said, I've got to understand more. I have to. And I looked at that and I thought, well, if greater works than these shall ye do, then I must set out to understand how much greater I can be. What is it that I need to know, to understand what's accessible to me? So for me, yes, I removed that completely, and I have freed myself to allow myself to continue to see what is possible. And to me, it is absolutely exciting. Creation is not hiding from us. Nothing is hiding from us. But reality is only going to be exposed to us according to what we can accept as a possibility.
Yeah, I get it.
It's hard because I'm not a very religious person. But I think there's a poll. They said 95% of the people believe in some kind of God or greater thing than themselves. And it's probably an anchor to, the world is a pretty crappy place, but imagine it came out and said, hey, there's no God, there's no heaven or hell.
Right.
What the hell would happen?
Well, it gives people hope. See, this is the thing. This is why I throw nothing out. I think
it keeps them in line. It keeps them acting civilly.
Absolutely. Everything is relevant according to the moment, according to what is needed. It's like government, so some people do need governing and guiding, we have to remember that human beings are programmed to have a savior. That is part of it. Human beings are programmed to always wait for someone to come and save them in some format or the other. That is one of the biggest programming that we have. And so therefore, yes, religion it works on that level, but it also works in supporting people who are going through struggles. When I was going through my struggles and I was still more in that space, sure, I was praying. So this doesn't mean you don't pray or anything like that. It just means that when that moment in you comes where you start to question more, allow it. A lot of times people's religious beliefs make them believe that they can't. So quietly they're curious, but they're scared to say anything to anybody, scared to step outside of the known constructs and protocols. And all I'm saying is, don't be afraid. What kind of loving creator would that be? And these were questions to me as a child. What kind of loving creator would that be that needs me to just worship them all day long? You have all this power, but you will strike me down if I don't worship you. For me, it just didn't make any sense. And I'm talking as a little kid.
Who says that who says that the creator, though? Who says the creator was loving? That's another.
That's true.
Point.
That's absolutely true. But either way, people have definitely fallen into it hook, line, and sinker. And it keeps people in line because, yes, people get scared. Particularly, we see it now as people get older. Many people, they're not as religious, but as they get older, they seem to need the insurance. Suddenly, they get more religious. It's insurance. That's what I call it. It's like insurance, just in case. And I'm thinking, well, you did all that stuff, and you really think that's this last year that you just come in and just got super religious, and now you're trying to bring everybody else in. So we live under these delusions, but it's okay. It's all okay. Whatever a person's thing is, hey, I think that's what you need to do.
I'm going to tell you, you know why I'm laughing? I'm laughing because I was at the doctor's not long ago, and I remember I was telling the doctor, I don't know, whatever the health issue I was having at the time, who knows? It could be my hair, it could be a prostate, whatever it was. But I'm at the doctor's, and I said, listen, tell me what I have to do. I will eat right. I will eat nothing but vegetables. I will do everything you tell me to do exactly to the T, and I will live the life of perfection. Tell me, give me the plan, and I will live it. I promise you I'll never eat sugar again. I'll do anything you want. And he said to me, look, you lived a long, long time. He goes, at the age you're at right now, whatever you've done already. It's done. It's not like suddenly you're going to go eat broccoli all day long and you're going to get rid of heart disease. I mean, it's not going to happen. He's like, yeah, that's why I'm laughing, because he just said, enjoy, go out and have your steak, do what you got to do. You already created it. It's not like it's going to change tomorrow for you.
I know. And so people have that somebody is going to strike them down. And what I see is that every action, there's a reaction. Is it that anybody's doing anything to anyone, or is it just the way things are? For everything we do, there's got to be an outcome. And whatever that outcome is based on whatever the thing is that we did, whatever the action is. I don't think it's necessarily anybody doing anything. It's sort of the law of how things work. If you jump up, typically, you're going to come back down. I mean, some of these things are just plainly simple. So for me, anyway, this is where I'm coming from with seeing the bigger picture, and to realize that you can if you want to, but it's an illusion when you try to lock reality into a box that this is what reality is. Oh, no, and it can't be that. That's just for your comfort. People do that just because it's safer. It makes them feel more comfortable because we don't like the unknown. The unknown is very scary. So we prefer the known, which religion gives us more of the known. It gives us something to believe in, to be comfortable with. We have some idea that when we die, maybe we get a chance to go to heaven, all of these things. So human beings typically are looking for some sort of assurance. And to not have that is scary for many people. And I understand it. So for anybody out there, please know that I understand where you're coming from. I just am not there. I have just opened my mind up. And the more I open up is the more I see and the freer I become. Life is a great science. And we're dealing with a technology. We're dealing with levels of technology, cosmic technology. We're dealing with reality technology. The body is technology. So many things that we don't understand. And when we say technology, I always say, please don't reduce it to your cell phones. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a bigger picture of how everything comes together. In an endless manner. There is no bottom to a final discovery about what reality is. I think it's just new levels of awareness that you can step into, which changes you, which has no other choice but to change you. Even physically, it will change you, because even the way we look, as we age and different things, it's based also on the belief that we do have in ourselves about reality and our place in it, and what's possible for us. And that's all science. That's just not woo-woo. That's can be scientifically shown. The body's response. You feel it when you're scared, how your mind, how your body responds to your mind. There's so many things that's showing us that our body is responding to our very thought, to any thought that we have. It's responding. Your heart beats fast when you're stressed or you're nervous. We'll figure how that must impact the rest of the body. And some people can die from shock. You can die from shock. You can die from fear. I mean, it's so many different things, and that's the body's reaction. And those are basic things that we need to look at to see that there is a much bigger picture, and it wants to show itself to us.
The only thing I see my body responding to is gravity, honestly. Everything is starting to... Gravity sucks. That's what I got to tell you. Now, I have a question. How you meditate, right, Sonia?
I meditate, but I meditate, but not like all the time like that. Because I did it so much for over the years. Yeah, I meditate, but I have learned that life is really an incredible meditation. So I approach it in different ways. I can do it. I'm driving. It's our perception of what is meditate. So
it's not that mental meditation, woosah type of meditation.
You can do all of that.
No, I can't. I'm asking because I can't do it. I no matter how hard I try, I cannot shut my brain off.
It's impossible. It's quite mind, but I think there's a lot more to it than that, because I just did a workshop and I had somebody in the workshop say the same thing. Said, well, do I have to meditate? I said, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. She's like, because I go and I meditate every day, but I'm just pretending. And I go, she says, I just go and I'm pretending to meditate. I go, exactly. I said, because you're going along with what you're hearing, that you should meditate every day. I said, but the fact of the matter is you are lying to yourself. So don't do it. I said, don't bother. Let it all go. Dump it. And when you let it go and you let go of the pressure of this thing that you need to do, and just start to be with yourself, whether you're on a walk or not. I mean, you can go into a different kind of meditation. It's just different levels of it. It's not.
It's so funny. I'd like to hear the person's sex life. Are they faking out also? That's the next question I was wondering about. Hey, Sonia, this is so funny. I was meditating back in the 90s a little bit, and here's the way I meditate. I sit there and I go, I'm an asshole.
That works too.
I'm telling you, Peasy. I've tried apps. I've tried the Alexa thing. Not sure to talk to me probably. Now, I mean, we had that guy on. What was his name?
TM. Oh yeah, great guy. He was TM a meditation teacher. Great guy from Manhattan. Right.
I mean, he was willing to teach us. I mean, I hear people, like, I know a lot of successful people, and I would say over 90% of these people meditate. Right? I don't know if it has anything to contribute to the success they had, but when you got that number, you're like, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you call successful, but I'm just saying they have a better life, they say. I mean, it's not good for everybody, I guess. Or maybe it does work that way, but I just can't get there.
No, it's different. It's different levels, and also perceptions that you have. You've got perceptions about what meditation is, and that is where you're coming at this from. So yeah, it is very hard to quiet your mind, and then you're struggling with your mind to shut it off. I don't teach about meditation in that way at all. I am all about freeing people. I tell people, don't, stop trying to be positive, and I tell people those things because I want to free them so that they can be positive. But when you're doing things because it sounds good and you've heard that and you're trying to do this thing, you're not really doing as much as you think that you're doing. So I come from a point of everything from just freeing yourself. It's like, I don't want to meditate. I can't meditate. I don't feel like I can meditate. Then you can address, well, what's going on with me when I think I can't meditate? Then you take pen and paper maybe and sit and you write down exactly what's going on. And then, you take a different approach. One of the things that I taught in workshops, because anyway, one of the things that I've taught is when people want to just quiet their mind, sometimes your mind's just running away with you. Even a basic thing like just saying to yourself, stop. You'll be surprised in that moment how everything, for a brief moment, everything shuts down. Everything stops. When you say stop, everything. The challenge is that you have to notice that, whoa, when I said that, when I close my eyes and I say stop, wow, I can feel that. But if you are more focused on not paying attention to even see that, then you're just going to get more of the same thing. But there are little things that you can do just to start practicing. You don't have to do meditation like everybody else does. Hey, I came to the table with not knowing anything about meditation, which is probably what worked for me because I didn't have any outside influence. I'd never been to a psychic. I had nothing. So coming to the table raw and trying to do something that I didn't even know what I was trying to do, I think helped because I didn't have the bombardment of outside data, outside information bombarding my mind as to what is supposed to happen. I think that's a lot of what happened. Yes.
You're saying preconception.
I try to use that stop technique. When I go to the refrigerator, I say, stop. And I go, nah, and I open it anyway.
Now, before we run out of time here, because we don't have much time, and I just wanted to address this too, because we could go on for hours talking to you, and it's fun, and we had limited. But besides the holographic canvas, you also wrote a book called, I think, Health is an Inside Job and an Outside Business. Tell us about, Mike and I need to know more about our health than anyone else. Like, what is that all about?
It's actually a supplement to the film. And what I did was I produced it, I published it, but the people in the film wrote a chapter in it. I mean, it is phenomenal. And it's sort of an extension of the film with just incredible information, incredible content that I think would really serve everybody well. Everybody who reads it is just like, oh my God, this is incredible. So that in a sense is what the book is about. It's an extension of the film. Now the film is called The Business of Disease, which on hearing the title, one would think that the film is just talking about pharmaceutical companies, because immediately everybody thinks that's all we're talking about. No, it talks about that a little bit. We had the ex general manager for Eli Lilly that was actually in the film as well. And he was talking about when Prozac came out, because he was part of that marketing and production of this whole thing. So we talk about that to some degree. Then we gradually begin to move into the emotional part of it. And we have neuroscientists in the film as well, and psychologists, to move into that part of it to show the major role that the emotions actually play, and how they're really at the foundation of dis-ease and the brain's connection with all of this. So it is a really amazing film in a sense of all the people that were in it and all the information that they delivered that is so relevant today, because it came out in 2016, incredibly relevant today. A lot of it very edgy at that time when it came out. So, and then the book again is an extension of that information. But everybody should really check out the film and the book. And A Journey of Possibilities is my second book as well, if anybody's interested in that too.
Excellent. That's excellent. And Mike, we should be looking into this because we've always had issues with our eating. We're not meditating. We're not eating correctly.
What do you mean I'm not eating?
I'm just saying, if everything Sonia's talking about, we're just like the worst human beings on the planet so far.
Oh, no.
You guys are so funny.
Listen,
oh
but we're basically good people, so that that always cancels out the mashed potatoes. You know, I'm a good person. I deserve those mashed potatoes.
Oh my goodness! You don't want to deprive yourself.
Interestingly enough, too, Sonia's moved to the West Coast. Where were you originally from? You came from where?
I lived in Evanston, Illinois.
Oh wow! Okay, and then you moved into a melting pot of Los Angeles. Whoa! Talk about the Midwest to jump in.
I lived in because I lived in the suburbs all the time where I was when I lived there in Illinois. But we lived in Escondido back then in '88 when I moved here, and then I moved to LA, which I don't live in the heart of LA, but I'm near Burbank, in 2007. So it's definitely been interesting. I was born in Jamaica, so I was born there and lived there for the first few years.
I love Jamaica. I love Jamaica.
First 13 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So
now, LA.
LA is like she's in a melting pot.
California's not been so great right now.
You went for if you're a spiritual person and you're
Your
LA.
audio's breaking up. He's
surrounded by all that, you know. No. Lockdowns and stuff. Is it really?
You're talking all that's going on right now?
Oh, wow. Look at that. I froze up. How do you like that?
Oh, my God.
Look at that. Are you guys still there?
That's a whole other show right there.
Yeah. Seems like.
Sorry, we can edit it out. It's not a perpetuation.
Hey, Sonia, so where can we get more information about you and people that would like to come visit and see you or actually go to your events or online or how to contact you? What is the best way?
You can go to my website, therealsoniabarrett.com, and the contact page is there. I'm easy to find. If you Google me, I'm easy to find. Lots of interviews and just different things. So I'm easy to reach out to. Sonia Barrett, Google, but therealsoniabarrett.com is my main website, and The Business of Disease is the website for the film. But all the website links are on that one website. The radio show website is on there, so that's why I wasn't giving out all the website names, because if they go to therealsoniabarrett.com, it's all there. And I do coaching and so on as well.
So you do the radio show was weekly?
It's just every Monday. Yeah.
We got to tune in.
It's an hour?
It's an hour. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good, huh? FM,
yeah,
she's all hooked up over there in LA, yeah.
I'm gonna listen. Yeah, well, you are a delight. You're definitely delightful, and you have a beautiful vision about you and a nice whole aura thing. I could see, you have a nice light personality about it all, and I really wish you lots of luck and health, and thank you for even coming on it. This is great. I mean, and I hope everyone goes and visits SoniaBarrett.com and check her out and maybe get some coaching and listen to her radio show. Yes.
Oh, the real Sonia Barrett.
The real.
SoniaBarrett.com.
Who's got SoniaBarrett.com? Who's got the SoniaBarrett.com?
Yeah, who is that person?
The SoniaBarrett.com is a photographer.
All right. We got to go. I take care of that for you. Don't worry about it. We do it the Brooklyn way.
Or pay her $10,000 for her domain name.
No. Just teach them how to meditate, and then we'll take care of it.
Oh, okay, there you go.
You mean put them to sleep and make them transfer the domain, right, PC?
That's right. Little hypnotic spell should work. Yeah.
Sonia, you are a delight. Thank you so much. Thank you
so much for having me on.
You're awesome. And stay well and healthy. And we hope that any new projects or anything you have come up in the future, let us know. Hopefully we bring you back on. We can promote that and also find out what's going on in your life.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, all of you.
You're very welcome.
I want to also thank our Mr. God below us over there, who's handling our show, Leland Best, and also want to thank our booker. Who's our booker?
Oh, Mr. Galasso, John Galasso.
John Galasso. A smile, a grin, a laugh. That's life, and you can find that at Laugh Loud Productions. This is a wonderful book as well from John. All right, Booker. If you want to come on the show, speak to the Booker, John Galasso at yahoo.com, and we'll see you next time, Mr. Sausage. And thank you, Leland.
Are you happy now, John?
I'm very happy. I'm always happy.
You got quantum physics in. You got a little,
I want to needle her forever and really talk to her, really get deeper. I don't have enough time in 60 minutes. I really would like to sit there and lock her down at a coffee, with a cup of coffee at a diner for 6 hours and just blast.
Okay. All right, my boy. Till next time.
Ciao, Bella. Look at that, 60 minutes on the dot. How nice was that? Leland's like right there. He's like, boom, 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 boom.